Hello. Just, yeah. I feel so grateful to be back. I've had this story I wanted to share for a while now, but I've just been waiting for the moment. And it's come. So here I am. So this one I've titled Reading Life. And I must attribute the title to my girlfriend Ali, because I was telling it to her, and that was how she responded. So, and I loved it. So this is a great little story about something that unfolded for me a couple of weeks ago, and what it made me realize is what life is trying to show us when we're present, when we're right here, right now, right here, right now. Oh my God, yeah. So I actually remember from a meditation teacher training course I did that the instructor talked about the fact that, you know, on average 80% of the time people spend either thinking about the past or worrying about the future. And yet neither of those aspects are real. The only thing that's real is right now. And when we're present, it's amazing the things that we can observe. And that's what I really got from this unfoldment. I got a message on a Sunday night telling me that a friend who was sick had been moved into palliative care. And I got it on a Sunday night, and I woke up the Monday morning and I thought, oh, I'm going to go in and see her because she was located locally. And so we had a bit on that Monday, so I just went out into the garden, I picked some flowers and off we went. And I took Patty with me, and we knocked on the door, and her brothers were there, and they didn't know us. And they were like, who are you? But my girlfriend recognised me, but she wasn't really in a space to talk. And so we spent a few moments with her, and it was beautiful actually. Her brothers left, and it was just us and her, and it was so beautiful. It was so beautiful. And she had music playing, and this song came on, and it really moved me. Like, it was like we didn't need to talk because the words of the song were just perfect for the moment, and we both really acknowledged it through our eyes. And anyway, when the song finished, one of the brothers came back in, and so we left. And as we left, the brother said to me, look, we're going to really restrict who can come in, because, you know, Mina really needs to conserve her energy. And I was like, yep, okay, that's fine. And I really felt like we'd slipped in under the radar, like we'd just got in. And it kind of made me laugh because that was very much my girlfriend. Like, she was always about slipping in. Just, yeah. Anyway, so it felt really perfect, and I felt really content, and I was so grateful to have had that song with her really in that moment. And so we left, and we ended up, we were heading up to see my mum. So we went up to my mum's, she's up in the city. And the next day I got a text from my girlfriend, and she said, when are you coming back to visit me? And I was like, oh, wow. Really surprised me. A, that she was communicating, and B, that, you know, we were allowed to go back. So I texted her saying, you know, whenever you want me to come, I'm here. I just give me an hour's notice because I'm up at my mum's. And she said, okay, you're on notice. So basically we went back to the hospital, and I wasn't sure what the protocol was about actually going in, because I felt like the day before I just went and knocked, but I wasn't sure that was appropriate given what the brothers had said to me afterwards. And so I as I arrived at the hospital, funnily enough, I was in a WhatsApp group for her with all her friends, and someone texted in the group, "I've just arrived and I'm live from our girlfriend." And I thought, oh, awesome. So I texted into the group and I said, "I've just arrived as well. Can you let me know whether it's appropriate for me to come in or not?" And then someone else in the group responded saying, "I thought the doors were closed." And I was like, I was so in a space of detachment. Like, I really felt like I'd had that moment with her the day before and I didn't really mind what happened. And I had this beautiful big bunch of flowers and I was like, you know what, I can just leave them at the reception here. And I got a text back in the group saying, Mina needs to rest, so best not to have any visitors in this moment. So I was like, completely fine. And then I walked back outside and there in the car park was a cat. And the cat kind of went up to my car and walked around it and then walked off. And I thought, oh, that's so funny. That's so funny. And I immediately thought of my girlfriend. And the reason being is that she had looked after our cat a few times. And she was amazing with animals. And our cat was initially my husband's cat, and when we got together, I had an initial reaction to the cat, which is a whole story in itself. You've all met Minty if you've seen any of these episodes. She often comes and visits. Anyway, once when we were away, my girlfriend rang me and she said, "Where are you guys?" And I said, "We're up in Wangaratta." And she said, "Where's Minty?" And I was like, oh, she's at home. And my girlfriend was like, "Who's looking after Minty?" And anyway, my husband was supposed to organise someone, but he hadn't organised anyone. So we just left food out for her. But we were gone for 4 days. And I was like, oh, and I had tried to ring a few people, but hadn't really given it a priority. And I was like, oh, look, I felt really guilty in that moment. I was like, oh, we haven't really organised anything, but I didn't want to say that to my girlfriend. And I was like, oh, well, and she's like, look, I want someone to go and check on Minty. I feel like Minty needs someone. So I had rung the neighbour. No, I rang my girlfriend and I said, oh, can you go and check on Minty? And she came over and couldn't actually find Minty anywhere, and she left. And I was like, oh shit, where's Minty? And then I thought, oh, I bet you she's stuck in the garage. So I rang my neighbour and I said, oh, can you go and check whether our cat's stuck in the garage? Anyway, the neighbour was off somewhere, but when she got home she came in and yes, found Minty. She'd been stuck in the garage. And I rang my girlfriend and I was like, oh my God, you were spot on. So she had this amazing connection with animals. And so when I saw this cat circling the car, I thought, oh my God, that's Mina. And I thought, oh wow, okay, so she's talking to me. And I really got in that moment, whenever I see cats, that's Mina. So I hopped in the car and I drove off, and came home. And the next day I was in the backyard, and the neighbour's cat came in and did a lap around the pool and left. And I looked at Patty and I said, Patty, we're going to the hospital. Because I felt like that was Mina saying, come. So jumped in the car and we went into the hospital. And we knocked on the door and asked if, actually we got one of the nurses to knock on the door and see if we were allowed in. No, it wasn't even that. No, we walked into the family waiting room and there were people in there that were friends with my girlfriend, and they said, I said, look, I'm just dropping off these flowers. And they said, thank you. And one of them said, let me just go and let Nina know that you're here. So we're waiting in the family room, and the girl comes back out and she says, oh, Mina wants you to come in. And we're like, oh, okay. So we went in, and she's like, oh my gosh, you know, you're always welcome to come in. And I'm like, great. And so we gave her the flowers, and she really loved them. And then we left, and as we were driving away, I had this idea. I thought, oh my God, my girlfriend had this amazing altar set up in her room. Like, it was beautiful. She was a devotee of a Indian teacher, and, you know, very much felt connected with a lot of the Indian gods and goddesses. And I thought, oh, I had this idea. I thought, I'm going to make a garland, which is just a flower necklace for my girlfriend, and offer it to her, and then we could place it on her altar. I thought, yeah, I'm going to do that. But I was conscious of, you know, not wanting to take up too much of her energy or time or whatever. So I thought, I had the idea, I thought I'll just wait and see if I get any more signs. And the next day, we're in the kitchen, and the neighbour's cat walked in, and I was like, oh my God. And I was like, perfect. So I rang up this place where I knew I could get the flowers from, and I ordered them in, and I went and picked them up, and I made these beautiful garlands, and I was like, okay, I'll just wait to see when's the right time to take them into her. And I had initially had this thing of, oh, it's never going to be my cat. It's always going to be some other cat, because how would I know when my cat's giving me a signal or not? And anyway, it was the Tuesday by now, and we're sitting there, and then all of a sudden, Minty looked at me, our cat, in a way that I don't know, I just felt this connection through our cat, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's time. So got Patty in the car, and we went into the hospital, and we took in our garlands, and we knocked on the door, and my girlfriend was so moved. She was so moved. It was such a beautiful moment. And I offered them to her, and then we put them up on the altar. And she looked at me and she said, my God, that was so beautiful. And she said it was such perfect timing, because she has two particular brothers that are very connected with the school that she was following in India. And they had just left, because they were living in New South Wales, and they had just left. And she was like, oh, you know, they'd been doing rituals and stuff with her every morning, and she really felt like, oh, how am I going to keep my connection with that? And she felt like she needed an external trigger. And so me walking in with the garlands was perfect. And I said to her, look, I'm happy to come in every day, and I can tend to your altar and look after it for you. And she was like, oh my God. She was like, I would love that. And it was so funny, and I thought, wow. And I thought, wow. And so pretty much last 2 or 2.5 weeks, every day Patty and I have been going in and tendering to her altar. And she said to me the other day, this is by far my favourite part of the day, is when you guys come in and zhuzh up the altar. And it's amazing how different it feels, when we do it. And it's a beautiful little thing that we share with her every day. And I thought, wow, I just was like, wow, I feel so grateful to have that time with her and continue to have that time with her, and to be able to share those moments with her every day. And I feel so grateful to have seen the signs that life presented me with, and to understand them. And it's been amazing. And what I realise is that life is wonderful. Life is amazing. It all comes down to me. Life is brilliant. Life is abundant. It all comes down to me. and just being present. Yeah. And watching and trusting. Oh my God. I love it. So, yeah, reading life. Awesome. Thank you. Bye.